Hello everyone. It's time to simplify what's called a compound or complex fraction. So to simplify a compound or complex fraction, let me just show you a simpler example real quick. And that is if you have 2/3 divided by 7/9. So the most common way that people do it is they say take the top fraction, leave it alone, then invert the second fraction, and then multiply. So the 9 goes to the top, the 7 goes to the bottom, and then multiply. And then I could multiply across, or I could say, well, 3 will divide into 9 3 times, and that means that it leaves a 6 on top and a 7 on the bottom. That's the most common way. When you have one as complicated as this, or I mean as fun as this, there's actually an easier way. Let me go back and show you this same example, 2/3 divided by 7/9. And I'm going to do it a different way. And that different way is you look at the two denominators. So look at this one and look at this one, a 3 and a 9. So for those two, the least common denominator is 9. Then you multiply the top and the bottom by that 9. So multiply by 9 and multiply by 9. Here, they're going to cancel, so it just leaves you a 7 on the bottom. On the top, 3 will divide into 9 3 times, so all it leaves is 2 times 3 is 6. And sure enough, we get the same answer, but it's a little bit simpler to do it the second way. And that's going to be especially true as they become more complicated. So let me just take these examples off, and then we can get to this fun problem right here. Okay, so first I'm just going to write it down. And I'm going to write it sort of big. All right, so the first thing to do is find the least common denominator. So you do need to look at all of the denominators and then decide what's the least common denominator. Well, looking at those numbers, a 3 and a 4, that would have to be a 12. And with a 2, well, 12 already has a 2 in it, so it seems like the least common denominator will have a 12 in it. And then because of our friend the x right here, we will also need an x. So the least common denominator is going to be a 12x. And then if I can remove this blue part, there we go. Now multiply all of the terms. Okay, now I'm ready. So now multiply all of the terms by the least common denominator. So multiply by 12x, multiply by 12x, multiply by 12x, and multiply by 12x. And then get you a blue pen and start canceling. So for example, 4 will divide into 12 3 times. A 3 will divide into 12 4 times, and the x's will cancel. On the bottom, 2 will divide into 12 6 times, and that's all of the canceling. So I need a black pen back. So on the top, there is an x times a 3. So that's 3x squared. And then a 5 times a 4 is 20, so plus 20. And then this would be 6 times x. And then this is going to be minus 12x squared. And the good news about using the least common denominator, once you do that with the blue and the red and you do the canceling, you're done. Nothing else left to do.